You know, Reading is the Manchester United, the Real Madrid of festivals, really, and it's tough staying at the top. I mean, genuinely, it's tough staying at the top, and but it's a passion to be there, I'm a pretty relaxed person in lots of ways, but I'm absolutely driven about the importance of Reading Festival, really, and I'm involved in all sorts of festivals, and I've created all sorts and lots of different festivals, and people ask me what my favourite festival is, and I'm very clear about it. Reading Festival is my favourite festival. It's like it's got a rawness, it's got an edge to it, it's got a youthfulness, that I experienced, and trust me, there is nothing that any of these kids that are camping in Reading Festival are experiencing that I didn't experience when I was camping there. In fact, I didn't even have a tent, so I know exactly what it's like to be in the campsite. I know exactly what it's like to be at the event, and I've never forgotten it, and I've never let go of it, and I've never forgotten the fact that Reading is a rite of passage and a very raw experience, and that's its beauty in lots of ways, and I just hold to that view, and that's how I try and keep the Reading Festival where it is.
Yeah. And if you're in terms of the bands and the music side of things, what advice would you give a band today? Maybe someone who wants to start out the first band. What do they have to do to attract your attention if they want to get on to play at one of your festivals? What are you looking for in a band?
In a way, I suppose. I mean, in sort of in true rock and roll style, I'd say the one thing that they have to do is not take any notice of any old fogies like me, because actually, if they need advice from me, then quite frankly, they've probably not got the edge that they should have, and. One of the great things about young bands, and you talked a little bit about it in terms of, the Reading Rock Academy is not necessarily about rock, but it's about young people rocking and going for it in a way, and that's what young bands do. Is about it's about expressing themselves, and I don't think that any level of advice given by older people in terms of trying to break through will make a blind bit of difference, quite frankly. It's about what's inside them, and it's about what comes through, and I'd love to say take my advice and it'll work, but it won't. What'll work is their own raw energy of being able to communicate with their peers, because actually that's all it's about. It's about having an audience, it's about developing an audience, and if you if you're able to communicate with your peers, then you're halfway there, quite frankly. I was at a sort of charity project that I was looking at with ActionAid in Ghana quite recently, and I met a young Canadian woman there who was talking to me about Bon Iver, and how Bon Iver talks to her just in a way that no other band had ever done, no other songwriter had ever done until that point, but he absolutely talks to her life, is part of her life, and that's what young bands and young songwriters do, and it's the only thing you can do is communicate with your peers.
Excellent. I mean, that's definitely the ethic of what we're doing at Reading Rock Academy, and I think that's exactly what I try and do there, is create an environment for them to talk to their peers. And this is why Alicia's running the 4th Friday event, and we see that as a showcase. Hopefully that's a passage for them. Hopefully maybe one day they can play at Reading Festival.